Hello friends, welcome to the class of CS FTFM. How are you? In the last class of FTFM, the cost of capital chapter, already we have discussed all the concepts of cost of capital. Now today I'm going to start the next questions, the questions based on the chapter cost of capital. The cost of capital chapter. In the cost of capital chapter, I'm taking some questions from scanner from 2010, 2011, 2012 from CS examination. So please do purchase the scanner, the past year examination questions, and I'm going to start the next question based on the concept cost of capital. So the cost of capital chapter, I'm taking two questions, one from 2010 June and the other one from 2010 December. In the cost of capital chapter, I'm taking two questions from 2010 June examination and 2010 December examination. And the first question from 2010 June examination, the first question is basically, the Priyanka Limited has the following capital structure. The Priyanka Limited has the following capital structure as on 31st March 2009. Priyanka Limited has the following capital structure as on 31st March 2009. Equity shares of the company, 20,000 equity share of rupees 100 each, amounting to rupees 20 lakh, 10% preference share of rupees 100 each, amounting to rupees 8 lakh, 12% debentures of rupees 1,000 each, amounting to rupees 12 lakh. The total capital structure of the company Priyanka Limited consists of 40 lakh rupees of capital, including 20 lakh rupees equity share capital and 8 lakh rupees preference share capital, and 12 lakh rupees have basically the amount of debentures. The company's share are sold in the market. The company's share are sold in the market at rupees 110. The company's share are sold in the market at rupees 110 each, and it is expected that a dividend of rupees 10 per share, would be declared for the year 2009. Dividend of rupees 10 per share would be declared for the year 2009. So basically the company's share are sold in the market at rupees 110 each. 110 each. The selling price means the selling price of equity share. The market price of equity share is rupees 110 each, and it is expected that a dividend of rupees 10 per share would be declared. Means the next expected dividend of rupees 10 per share would be declared for the year 2009. The dividend growth rate is likely to remain. The growth rate of dividend likely to remain at 6%. So this paragraph consists of information about equity shares. So about equity shares, the market price of equity share is rupees 110 each, and the next expected dividend is rupees 10 per share, and for the year 2009, and the growth rate is expected to be 6%. So first of all, you are required to calculate weighted average cost of capital, means WACC. You are required to calculate weighted average cost of capital. For the purpose of computation of weighted average cost of capital, I have to calculate the cost of different components of capital. The cost of equity share, because the capital structure consists of equity share, preference shares and debenture. So I need to calculate the cost of equity share, the cost of preference share and the cost of debenture for the purpose of calculation of weighted average cost of capital. So, and you are required to calculate WACC, weighted average cost of capital, if the company comes in the tax bracket of 30%. The company's tax rate is basically 30%. The 30% is company's tax rate. So in the first step of the question from 2010 June examination, CS examination from scanner, the first part of the question I need to calculate the weighted average cost of capital if the tax rate is if the tax rate is 30%. The second point, the company is planning to diversify its production activities. The company is planning to diversify its production activities and intends to borrow a sum of rupees 20 lakh at the rate of 15% per annum. The company wants to diversify. Planning to diversify its production activity, or likely to expand its business, and intends to borrow a sum of rupees 20 lakh. The company intends to borrow a sum of rupees 20 lakh at the rate 15% per annum. The company intends to borrow a sum of rupees 20 lakh at the rate 15% per annum. The financing decision is expected to increase dividend. The financing decision, if this decision has been taken by the company, then the dividend will increase from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share. Dividend, which was rupees 10 per share earlier, and increase to rupees 12 per share if the company wants to borrow. If the company borrows rupees 20 lakh at the rate 15% per annum, then the dividend per share increase from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share. The market price of equity share is likely to decrease, and the market price, which was earlier rupees 110, the market price is likely to decrease from 110 to rupees 105. So, if the expansion program has been undertaken, by the company, then the dividend per share increase from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share. Increase from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share, and the market price of equity share, falls from rupees 110 to rupees 105. Rupees 110 to rupees 105. The market price of equity share falls from rupees 110 to rupees 105. Then I need to calculate what will be the company's revised weighted average cost of capital. If the expansion program has been taken into consideration, if the company expand its operations, then what will be the impact? What will be the revised weighted average cost of capital? So, first of all, I am taking this question from 2010 June examination. So, first of all, please take a print of these questions. Then I will provide the solution of question number 1. So, please note down. So, the first question, first of all, for the purpose of computation of weighted average cost of capital, I need to calculate the cost of different components of capital. So, computation of cost of capital. Number 1, the cost of equity. The formula for the calculation of cost of equity, as we discussed in the last class, the cost of equity is equals to D1 divided by P plus G. The cost of equity is equals to D1 divided by P plus G. D1 basically means the next expected dividend. Basically means the next expected dividend as we discussed in the last class, or if the next expected dividend is not given in the question, then last declared dividend. In the last declared dividend, add growth in dividend. In the last declared dividend, add growth in dividend. So in this question, the D1, the next expected dividend is given in the question. P stands for flotation price, means net issue proceeds, or market price, or face value in order of preference. And G stands for rate of growth of price of a share. Rate of growth of price of a share. And as we discussed in the last class, if rate of growth of price of a share is not given in the question, then rate of growth of dividend can be taken as rate of growth of price of a share. So K is equals to D1 divided by P plus G. The D1, in the first step, the D1 is provided in the question. The next expected dividend is rupees 10. P stands for flotation price or market price or face value. The flotation price is not given in the question. The market price is provided in the question, given in the question, rupees 110, and the growth rate is 6%. The growth rate is 6%. 10 divided by 110. 10 divided by 110. 10 divided by 110, 0.0909 plus 0.06. 15.1509, that is 15.0909 means 15.09%. So the cost of equity amounts to 15.09%. So the formula for the calculation of cost of equity, D1 means next expected dividend, is already given in the question, rupees 110. P stands for flotation price or market price or face value. The market price is 110, and G stands for rate of growth of a price of a share. The rate of growth of price of a share is already given in the question, 6%, 0.06. Then 10 divided by 110, 0.909 plus 0.06 is equals to 0.1509, that is 15.09%. 15.09% is basically the cost of equity. The cost of equity. The second part, I have to calculate the cost of preference shares. The KP is equals to D plus CDT divided by P. There are two types of preference share capital. One is redeemable, the other one is non-redeemable. There is no information provided about the redemption of preference shares. So this preference share capital can be taken as non-redeemable preference shares, and the formula for the calculation of cost of preference share in case of non-redeemable preference shares, D plus CDT divided by P. D stands for dividend, CDT means corporate dividend tax, P stands for flotation price or market price or face value. So the dividend, the rate of dividend is basically 10%. The rate of dividend is 10% and the face value is rupees 100. So 10% of 100, 10% of 100 is basically the amount of dividend. The corporate dividend tax, the tax rate is given in the question is 30%, but the corporate dividend tax is altogether different term. The CDT is not given in the question. The company is liable to pay certain amount of tax on the dividend, which is known as the corporate dividend tax. So no information regarding CDT, the corporate dividend tax, is provided in the question. So the corporate dividend tax, can be taken as nil. The CDT can be taken as nil. And P stands for flotation price or market price or face value. The flotation price is not given in the question. The market price of preference share is also not provided in the question. The face value of preference share is rupees 100. 10 divided by 100, 0.10, that is 10%. So face value can be taken as P, the value of P, because in case of preference share, the net issue proceeds means flotation price is not given. The market price is also not given. So the face value can be taken as the value of P. Number 3, the cost of debt. The cost of debt. There are two types of debt. One is redeemable and the other one is non-redeemable. One is redeemable, the other one is non-redeemable. So no information regarding redemption of debentures is provided in the question. So the cost of non-redeemable debt is equals to I1 minus T divided by P. I1 minus T divided by P. I stands for interest rate, 12% of 1000. 1 minus tax rate. The tax rate is 30%. P stands for flotation price is not given. P stands for flotation price not given. Market price is also not given. The face value of rupees 1000. So 12% of 1000, 120. 1 minus 30%. $84 divided by 1000, 8.40% is basically the cost of debt. So for the purpose of computation of weighted average cost of capital, I need to calculate the different cost of different components of capital. So the cost of equity amounts to 15.09%. The cost of preference share amounts to 10% and the cost of debt amounts to 8.4%. So the cost of equity is equals to 15.09. The cost of preference shares is equals to 10% and the cost of debt is equals to 8.4%. So first of all, please note down this portion, point 1, point 2 and point 3, then we'll calculate the weighted average cost of capital. The computation of weighted average cost of capital. Particulars. First component is equity share capital. The amount is A stands for amount, K stands for cost. The second component is 10% preference share capital of rupees 8 lakh. The third component is 12% debentures of rupees 12 lakh. The equity share capital, the cost of equity as we calculated in the first step, 15.09%. The cost of preference share capital 10%, the cost of debt K into A 20 lakh multiplied by 20 lakh multiplied by 0.1509, 3 lakh 1,800, 8 lakh multiplied by 10%, 80,000, 12 lakh multiplied by 3,01,800 plus 80,000 plus 1,08,000, 4,82,000, 4,82,600. The sigma K, the value of sigma A is 40 lakh. The weighted average cost of capital, sigma KA divided by sigma A, 4,82,600 divided by 40 lakh, 4,82,600 divided by 40 lakh, 0.12065, that is 12.065%. 12.065%. 12.065% is basically the weighted average cost of capital. Is basically the weighted average cost of capital as per step number 1. So as per step number 1, the weighted average cost of capital amounts to 12.065%. And in the second part of the question, the company wants to borrow rupees 20 lakh. The company wants to borrow rupees 20 lakh for its expansion at the rate 15% per annum. The 15% is basically the rate of interest, and it will result in the next expected dividend will grow from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share, and the market price of equity share, decrease from rupees 110 to rupees 105. So in the second part of the question, I need to calculate the revised weighted average cost of capital. So first of all, please note down the point number 1. So in second part of the question, the revised weighted average cost of capital. The revised weighted average cost of capital. So for the purpose of computation of revised weighted average cost of capital, the revised weighted average cost of capital, I need to calculate the cost of the revised cost of equity which is equals to D1 divided by P plus G. D1 stands for next expected dividend. Next expected dividend increased from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share. The flotation price is not given, but the market price falls from 110 to 105, and the growth rate, there is no information regarding the growth rate. The growth rate there is no information regarding the growth rate. The growth rate will remain the same, 6%. So 12 divided by 105. 12 divided by 105. 0.1142 plus 0.06. 0.1742, that is 17.42%. 17.42% is basically the revised cost of equity and the cost of debt too. I1 minus T divided by P. I1 minus T divided by P. The company wants to borrow rupees 20 lakhs at the rate 15% per annum. At the rate 15% per annum. So the amount of interest, 15% of 20 lakh. 15% of 20 lakhs. Tax rate is 30%. In case of loan, there will be no flotation price, no market price, but only the face value. The face value of the loan is 20 lakh rupees. So 3 lakh multiplied by 0.70, 15% of 20 lakh is equals to 3 lakh. 3 lakh into 0.7, 2 lakh 10,000 divided by 20 lakhs. 2 lakh 10,000 divided by 20 lakh. .105, that is 10.50%. So the cost of debt too, means the cost of loan, amounts to 10.50%. So if the company borrows rupees 20 lakh at the rate 15% per annum, 20 lakh at the rate 15% per annum, the cost of loan, the cost of debt too amounts to 10.50%. But if the company borrows rupees 20 lakh rupees from the market, then the next expected dividend will increase from rupees 10 to rupees 12 per share. At the same time, the market price of equity share falls from 110 to 105 per share. So I need to calculate the revised weighted average cost of capital. So first of all, please note down these 2 points. So the revised cost of equity amounts to 17.42% and the cost of debt too amounts to 10.50%. So the revised weighted average cost of capital the amount of equity share capital is rupees 20 lakh, 10% preference share capital 8 lakh rupees, 12% debenture of rupees 12% debentures of rupees 12 lakh and 15% loan of rupees 20 lakh. The cost of equity is 0.1742. The cost of preference share is 10%. The cost of debt is 8.4% and the cost of loan is 10.5%. So the 20 lakh multiplied by 0.1742. 20 lakh multiplied by 0.1742. 3,48,400. 3,48,400. 8 lakh multiplied by 0.10, 80,000. 12 lakh multiplied by 0.084, 1 lakh 8,000 and 20 lakh multiplied by 0.1050, 2 lakh 10,000. Three lakh 48,800 plus 80,000 plus 1 lakh 800, 7 lakh 39,600. And the weighted average cost of capital sigma K A divided by sigma is 7,39,600 divided by 60 lakh, the new capital structure amount 7,39,600 divided by 60 lakh, 12.0.1232, that is 12.32%. So the revised weighted average cost of capital amounts to 12.32%. The revised weighted average cost of capital amounts to 12.32%. And in the first part of the question, the weighted average cost of capital, if the company borrows 15% loan of rupees 20 lakh at 15% per annum, it will affect the equity share capital, and the revised equity, the cost of equity amounts to 0.1742. And finally, the revised weighted average cost of capital amounts to 12.32%. 12.32%. So first of all, please note down this portion. So the first question in the cost of capital chapter from 2010 June examination. So the next question from 2010 December examination, the Sushant Limited has the following capital structure. The Sushant Limited, question from 2010 December examination, the Sushant Limited has the following capital structure. Number 1, the equity share capital of rupees 50 lakh rupees, 10% preference share of rupees 10 lakh, the 14% debentures of rupees 20 lakh, the total capital structure amount is rupees 80 lakh. The equity share of the company are sold at rupees 25 per share in the market. The equity shares of the company are sold at rupees 25 per share in the market, and it is expected that the company will pay next year a dividend of rupees 4 per share. The next expected dividend is rupees 4 per share, which will grow at 8% per annum forever. Which will grow at 8% forever means the growth rate is 8%. The growth rate is 8%. Assume a tax rate of 30%. Assume a tax rate of 30%. First of all, I need to calculate weighted average cost of capital. So again, for the purpose of computation of weighted average cost of capital, I have to calculate the cost of different components of capital. And in the second part, compute the new weighted average cost of capital. If the company raises an additional of rupees 20 lakh debt, by issuing 15% debentures. This would increase the expected dividend to rupees 4 per share. The expected dividend will increase from rupees 4 to rupees 5 per share with dividend growth rate unchanged. The growth rate of dividend will remain the same, means 8%, but the price of the share will fall to rupees 20 per share. Previously the price of the share was rupees 25 per share, but due to introduction of additional funds in the capital structure, the market price of the share falls from 25 to rupees 20 per share. So in this case, in the second part of the question, if the company wants to borrow rupees 20 lakh at the rate 15% per annum for its expansion or for any other reason, and in that case the next expected dividend will increase from rupees 4 to rupees 5 per share, and the growth rate will remain the same, but at the same time the market price of the share falls from 25 to 20 per share. The market price of the share falls from 25 to 20 per share. So first of all, I need to calculate cost of weighted average cost of capital. So for this purpose, I have to calculate cost of capital of each component. Cost of capital of each component means cost of equity. The formula for the calculation of cost of equity is equals to D1 divided by P plus G. D1 divided by P plus G. D1 stands for next expected dividend, which is already given in the question. If the next expected dividend is not given in the question, then the D1, the last declared dividend, in the last declared dividend we have to add up the growth in dividend. So, but the D1 is already given in the question. The D1, the value of D1 is basically rupees 4 per share. P stands for flotation price, not given, or the market price. The market price is rupees 25 per share, and the growth rate is 8%. So 4 divided by 25, amounts to 0.16 plus 0.08 0.24, that is 24%. 24% is basically the cost of equity. 24% is basically the cost of equity. Number 2, the cost of preference shares. The cost of preference share D plus CDT divided by P, because there is no information regarding redemption of preference share is given in the question. In the absence of any information, the preference share can be taken as considered as non-redeemable preference shares. D means dividend 10% of face value is not given. Then if the face value is not given, the face value assumed to be rupees 100. The CDT, the corporate dividend tax, is also not given in the question. P stands for flotation price of preference share, not given. Market price of preference share also given. Then the face value. Cost of preference shares, then cost of debt, I1 minus T divided by P. I stands for interest, 14% of 100, 1 minus tax rate is 30%. Flotation price not given, market price not given, face value 100, 14% of 100, 14 into 0.70. 14 into 0.70, 9.80 divided by 100, 9.80 divided by 100, 0. That is 9.8%. And the computation of %, debentures. The amount of equity share capital is rupees 50 lakh. The amount of preference share is rupees 10 lakh. 14% debenture 20 lakh. The cost of equity amounts to 24%. The cost of preference shares 10%. The cost of debt 50 lakh into 20.24, 12 lakh. 10 lakh into 0.10 into 10 lakh, 1 lakh. 0.0980 into 20 lakh. $1,96,000. 12 lakh plus 1 lakh, 13 lakh plus 1,96,000, 14 lakh 96,000 divided by 80 lakh. The sigma KA is equals to 14 lakh 96,000 and the sigma A is equals to 8 lakh. The weighted average cost of capital $14,96,000 divided by 0.18.70%. The weighted average cost of capital the weighted average cost of capital as per the information, basic information, amounts to 18.70%. The weighted average cost of capital as per the basic information amounts to 18.70%. So please note down the first point. So as per the first point, the weighted average cost of capital amounts to 18.70%. The basic cost of preference share 10%. The basic cost of debt is 0. So, in the second point of the question, compute the new weighted average cost of capital if the company raises an additional of rupees 20 lakh debt by issuing 15% debentures. So, I have to calculate the cost of loan means the cost of debt too. The loan basically means debt too, but it will affect the cost of equity. I have to calculate the revised cost of equity because the amount of dividend, the next expected dividend will increase from rupees 4 to rupees 5 per share, and the growth rate remains unchanged, but the market price falls from 25 to 20 per share. So computation of revised cost of equity D1 divided by P plus G. The next expected dividend increased to rupees 5 per share. P stands for flotation price, not given but the market price 20. The growth rate remains unchanged 8%. 5 divided by 20 plus 0.08, 0.33, that is 33%, 0.33, that is 33%, and the cost of debt to KD2 I1 minus T divided by P, I1 minus T divided by P. Interest amount is 15% of. The company borrows rupees, additional 20 lakh rupees. The dividend rate is 15%. 15% of 20 lakh. The tax rate is 30%. P means, in case of loan, the meaning of P is basically the amount of loan, 20 lakh rupees. 15% of 20 lakh, 3 lakh rupees into 0.70, 2 lakh 10,000. 2 lakh 10,000 divided by 20 lakh. 0.105, that is 10.50%. 10.50%. So the revised weighted average cost of capital particulars K into A. %, debentures and 15% loan. The amount of equity share capital is 50 lakh rupees. The amount of preference share is rupees 10 lakh. The cost of 14% the amount of debenture is rupees 20 lakh rupees. And the amount of 15% loan. The amount of 15% loan is rupees 20 lakh. The cost of equity share capital is 33%. The cost of loan is 10.5%. The cost of preference share capital 10%. The cost of debt 50 lakh multiplied by 0.33. 50 lakh. 16,50,000 rupees. 0.10 into 1 lakh. 0.10 into 10 lakh, 1 lakh rupees, 0.980. 1,96,000, 20 lakh, 16,50,000 plus 1 lakh, 17 lakh, 50,000 plus 1,96,000 plus 21,56,000. The value of sigma KA. The value of sigma KA is equals to 21,56,000. Sigma A is equals to 1 crore. The weighted average cost of capital, revised weighted average cost of capital, sigma KA divided by sigma A, 21,56,000 divided by 0.2156, that is 21.56%. The revised weighted average cost of capital amounts to 21.56%. The revised weighted average cost of capital amounts to 21.56%. So please note down. So we have done some questions based on the cost of capital chapter. In the next class, we will do some more questions based on the cost of capital chapter. So आज के लिए इतना ही. Goodbye. Take care. All the best.